What you're watching right now are the top two teams in the Philippines playing in the grand finals of the country's largest tournament to date, ESGS 2020. Sedna Esports have long been seated as the country's best team by far. ULVL, coming in after having reformed just 2 weeks prior to this exact match, were, a year before, the only contenders to Sedna's reign, and were also the reigning champs of ESGS 2019, before disbanding shortly after. In the end, it was a more experienced and more organized Sedna Esports that won the series and the championship. How they did that is what we're going to be talking about here in our video today. As I was one of the casters of this game along with Raph, I'm hoping I could share some insight as to what I was seeing and thinking about during the match. Hopefully you guys will be able to apply some of the things you learned from this video in your own team or rank stacks too. It all starts with their banning phase. With Sedna banning Thatcher and Mute, they get rid of the main way for a team to deny A, utility, and B, droning. ULVL, on the other hand, bans Thermite and Mira. We'll get to why these 4 bans are so important in just a bit. Let's go to round number 1. For their first site, Sedna picks Reading Room and Fireplace Hall. While in ranked, it's common for teams to go to either the top floor or the kitchen sites first. Reading Room is actually the best site on Cafe. Think about this for a second. The reason why top floor is picked so much in ranked is because, well, people are comfortable with it, but more importantly because the cocktail side and 90 and piano room are both very strong positions. The caveat is that when you lose control of cocktail, you've pretty much lost the round, as barring a plant denial with a nitro cell from below, you're gonna have to give up the plant, which is almost never good for the defenders. This is why Reading Room is so good, because you get the benefit of 1. Playing very strong positions due to the long sight lines the attackers have to cross without much cover. 2. Having vertical plant denial from cocktail above into reading below, as we see here on round number 4, where Sedna just waited out for the plant on reading because they knew that they could easily deny any default plant from cocktail. And 3. Having hard breach denial from down up. With carefully placed holes, you can shoot out any Hibana or Ace gadgets trying to breach the cocktail side. You get all of this benefit without having to worry about losing cocktail and then further giving up the plant, as even if the attackers do take cocktail, you can always fall back down the hatch or back down white stairs because, well, the site is obviously downstairs. But this will only work with the right setup. First, you have to reinforce these 5 walls to cocktail. Though some teams, like ULVL, like leaving this wall open as rotation. Doing this is gonna allow you to play 3 defenders here on the 3rd floor, in Sedna's case, Bandit, Wamai, and Jaeger, with all 3 of those operators' gadgets placed towards cocktail to support them. With 2 in cocktail and 1 close to 90 in piano, the player towards piano isn't necessarily there to get frags, but instead to apply pressure, shoot drones, and then fall back to white stairs where a player from cocktail can come to help them out. Remember, if you hold cocktail the entire round and deny plant from it, that's great, but the purpose of this setup is to buy as much time as you can before falling back. Now, let's remember the bans. With Thermite banned, this means the only real hard breach the attackers can use in this situation are either Ace or Hibana. And this is important because Ace and Hibana's hard breach gadgets are much easier to deny from down to up, as once again they can be shot out from underneath by a defender in reading. A Mute Jammer, Kaid Electroclaw, or Bandit batteries can also help out in this case, of course. The last one, Sedna do use to their advantage, with a smoke to help out any cocktail pushes. I suspect they went with the Bandit pick here to adjust for their Mute ban, as Mute is typically the favored pick in this situation. Thatcher, of course, would disable all of his utility towards the cocktail side as well, hence him being banned. And lastly, we also have Mira banned, who, if picked, can make the cocktail hold even stronger if her windows were placed here and here. I also want to bring up this shield that Sedna places on cocktail. Typically, in other regions, you might see it on the opposite side right here. Or there could be another shield on top of white stairs to support that player. But both ULVL and Sedna place their shield right here, and the only difference I've seen from ULVL once again is they open up this wall as rotation. And as compared to Sedna, who like reinforcing it, I couldn't really say which one is particularly better, as I've seen both options work out for other teams. There are pros and cons to both. Though Sedna didn't lose a single reading defend round this entire match, so that's something to note. So how do you attack this? Well, It's pretty much the same as a top floor take. First, you open red stairs and cigar balcony hatch, clear that side with drones, then open up the big wall in red stairs into piano. Control that, and you can then move your way towards cocktail. Your goal here is to flush them out of the top floor. Opening this wall up, right here for example, is going to allow you to cut off any rotations from the defenders in cocktail as they try to retreat, perhaps through the hatch or white stairs. After that, you're pretty much geared up to go for a reading room plant. Now, let's look at the rounds where we play on kitchen, as this is where either team differed the most in their defense. Let's compare the two. There are 3 ways of really extending your defense on kitchen. Horizontally, you can extend to bakery side, or you can extend to VIP side, with a rotation here on freezer, as Sedna does. And you can also extend vertically into the rooms above, which ULVL applies. Now, there are many videos on the freezer and bakery extensions out there, so I want to focus on ULVL's kitchen hold instead. At first glance, it almost looks inferior, as there is nothing really fancy going on here. No intricate sight lines or footholds, nor rotations. They simply turtle down the sight by reinforcing everything. But this is where the roam game and positioning comes together. Because of the fact that everything is reinforced, Sedna are going to have to either walk into the site from the entrances, or make one of their own. And with Thermite and Thatcher banned, this becomes a lot harder. We can see that ULVL like to have 3 roamers when defending kitchen, 1 towards reading, 1 in mining, and the last one in fireplace hall, with both the mining and fireplace players having vertical sightlines on entry points down below. Now, notice what these 3 positions have in common. They are each right beside a staircase, wherein they can rotate back to site if the anchors need help. And this caused huge problems for Sedna, as their second floor clear hasn't been working well for them, and well, when they ignore it, ULVL just collapse and rotate back. Even Pro League teams struggle to watch every single flank, and with 3 players coming down 3 different stairways, you almost guarantee at least one of them is going to find an opening. Now lastly, let's look at the rounds played on the top floor, the cocktail lounge and bar site. Most people are comfortable playing this site, as it's a common rank pick, but let's look at how ULVL and Sedna differ in their defenses. As we established earlier, one of the important first steps when attacking the top floor is opening up the big wall from red stairs into piano. When you fail to do so, as ULVL does in this round for example, it's going to be much easier for the defenders to find picks as you filter out firm cigar into piano, as seen in this round where ULVL don't decide to open up the big wall and they pay a hefty price for it. So let's look at what Sedna's answer to this situation was. They knew that with their current lineup, it might be a bit difficult to open up the big wall with just a Hibana, and this is where their Ying pick comes into play. One way of playing around not having piano and cigar control is, well, by dropping down from the skylight, which can be very dangerous, as you're practically out in the open as soon as you drop, and Sedna realized this, hence the Ying pick. With that, they were able to use the Candelas to buy them just enough time to drop down, and with some help of some exemplary frags by Maxi on the Ying, they were able to successfully win a round on attack on the top floor without even having cigar and piano control, which are normally essential to your win condition when attacking the top floor. Of course, the risk of this is that it can easily be denied by defenders playing cigar and piano from behind the attacker's push. And that's exactly what ULVL does the very next round when Sedna tries it once again. This is why the strategy of dropping down from the skylight is better off as more of a one-round throwaway curveball strat. It's not really the most reliable way of winning rounds, but it can be effective if the defenders aren't expecting it. Plus, it's kinda cool. This match really could have gone either way. I think the fact that ULVL has only been playing again competitively for 2 weeks prior to this match really played a factor here. You can see a bit more of that if you watch the VOD, which I will link down below in the description. I encourage you guys to do so if you want to learn more, as we bring up quite a few other points throughout the entire match. I hope you guys were able to learn something from this video and apply it into your own personal stacks and matches when playing. Of course, if you liked this video and want to see more, you can follow the channel and the page to keep up to date on more educational videos like this, and the tournaments that I do commentary and shoutcasting on as well. Let me know down below in the comments what topics you want me to cover next too. So, that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you next time.